Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily commodity technical analysis update. We're going to work through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow, that I like, and that's why we're going over them. And I'm going to give you my financial opinion across the board here. Obviously, my opinions may differ from others. My viewpoints may be different than others because I look at this stuff from a longer term viewpoint. I'm not a short term trader. I am a person who accumulates assets when things are cheap, and then I wait for the big bull market, the big secular bull market to come, and then I ride the whole thing up. So I know some people, I do ride through a lot of stuff, and it can be emotionally tiring for some people if they're not used to the volatility and the swings. Just wanted to let you guys know that. So let's dive in here. Let's take a look at what's going on. So looking at the DXY. The DXY up higher today, 0.25%. Again, I think that's going to follow yields for the most part. Yields go higher, dollar goes higher. And we're above support. Looking at the 10-year yield, the 10-year yield is slightly lower today, down 0.03%, so basically sideways. Again, we're sitting on support, especially logarithmic. Looking at the 30-year yield, we're up 0.3%, but we've broken this to the upside, guys. I think yields are going higher on the long end. Higher. Short end, you don't have the patterns. They're not breaking out like that. So long end definitely looks like it wants to go up. And then bond prices still looking like they could go downward. That is money rotating out of bonds. And money rotating out of bonds is going to find a new home. That is what I will say. Or they're going to release a lot more bonds, which is going to drive these prices lower, which is then going to maybe spark more selling pressure. And looking at TLT from a longer term perspective, it looks like garbage. This looks like it wants to drop again, to me at least. US 2-year yields, looking at the short end of the curve, this still is firm, but again, this could head lower. We are up against support for the dollar, and if this heads lower, be interesting. Interesting to see what happens here, because this kind of looks like a shoulder, head, shoulder. The long end looks like it wants to break to the upside. Dollar looks like it wants to go higher, but the short end does look like it wants to do some sort of rollover. We'll see what happens with time. And then the TYX TNX ratio going higher today. That is supportive of the curve uninverting and also higher precious metals prices, generally speaking. The CRB index was flat. We're up against that resistance line again. We're bouncing all over the place, moving sideways. The CRB to S&P 500 was slightly lower today, hitting that 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. What I'd like to see next is a move sideways and an eventual move up, where commodities outperform stocks at some point here in the near future is what I'm hoping. We hit the 0.618 level. That's generally where wave 2 ends. 0.618. We just tapped it today. Tap, tap, taparoo. Gold. Gold heading higher, 14 bucks-ish. Moving on up. We are sitting on top support and heading higher. Looks good to continue higher. Silver also heading a little bit higher today, getting that bloody nose. I think it's going to grind higher. We are on top of support. That is where you want to be if you're betting on moving higher. Platinum, my boy Platty, the platypus, up 2.22%, ripping it. Looking at the short term here, lots of strength. I like it. Good, strong closing today. Let's hope that momentum can continue it higher. If you've been part of the website, you know that I was doing the yellow fever when gold broke out and was buying a lot of platinum. I've been buying platinum since 2019. Bought the lows in 2020. Kept buying it under 900 and something bucks an ounce. And now here we are at 1100 and ready to break to the upside. Big pattern view. This looks fantastic. Jeez, guys. Is this like a shoulder? Well, shoulder, head, kind of shoulder deal, and it's ready to break. Let's rip it. Go platinum. Go platty. XAU to gold ratio, slightly lower today. It's a small down day. It's nothing really to worry about. But let's break this thing, guys. Let's break it. Come on. We break this thing. I promise, guys, everyone will be happy if you own gold and silver mining companies if we get this thing to move upward. I do think it will happen, and I think it will happen when gold hits new all-time highs and closes up above there. And I think that we'll get some momentum soon, hopefully soon. So GDX was down a little bit. Yeah, I know. Gold was up. GDX was down. What's going on? Still looks good, guys. Small down candlesticks. Just a little couple of bloody noses. Continuation pattern to the upside. GDX, same thing. The bloody nose is common, and we're getting it a little bit, but it's still, I think, going to head higher. SILJ is the same thing. Little bloody nose sitting on top of a pattern exactly where you want to be. That is actually a good spot to be looking at potential investment opportunities. Crude oil had some pretty good volatility today. We were down a little bit, up a little bit. Looks like we ended up 0.5%. I want to see this keep going higher. I do not want to see a reversal candlestick tomorrow. So let's wait and see what happens. We do have large selling pressure days here. The reversal hammer candlestick. We've got the move higher, but these opening and closing prices are coming together. That generally means that your momentum is slowing down a little bit. It doesn't mean that it's 100% in the bag that we're going to go back down, but that is what I would guess is going to happen in the very short term. I think we are going to roll over. I think we're going to do a couple of humps, do some bouncing up and down, some trampoline jumps, and then I think we're going to move on up eventually to the upside. That's what I'm seeing. That's what the probability is of what I've seen in history with large down candlesticks, and then the multiples next to it that moves less of a distance than these big two right here. So the buyers are struggling to go up. I think we're going to bounce like that before heading higher. Natural gas up 1.3%. We're still doing what I had said, the bounces, right? We're going to consolidate, create a base, and then we'll rip it later. We've got XOP. Yeah, you know me. It is still bouncing sideways. I think that's going to occur for a little bit longer, because I think oil is going to do it. Could we head a little bit lower to create this shoulder, head, shoulder that's inverted? Shoulder, head, shoulder with the neckline up here. It's possible. Yes, it's very much possible. Where we could break down, do a false breakout, and then slingshot this beast to the upside. That's what I'm looking for. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. I'm looking for it because I want to buy it. But just because I want to buy something doesn't mean it will happen. But that's what I'm hoping for and looking for. And I'm on position. If this goes up, it's no big deal. OIH, the energy service companies. Let's zoom in on the dailies here. We're bouncing sideways. We got to see oil really start to break to the upside. We can also throw a trend line here. Looks something like that. It'd be nice if we could break that, but it hasn't broken it yet. Like to see oil do some, trampoline jumps. There we go, trampoline jumps, where these things kind of jump like that for a little bit. And then it cools off, and then we base out, and then we bounce from there. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. Go uranium buyers. We're breaking out here. It's looking a lot better. Our eyes are set on 1815 to break next. This looks really positive for uranium. Big bullish candlestick, bloody nose, continuation pattern. Let's go. Let's go, baby. URNM up 3.25%. We are attacking or going to attack this next resistance level. What do we see, guys? The Green Army showing up. Yes. Way to grow, Green Army. Hey, I'm getting bullish as can be here. So we had a big green candlestick, the bloody nose, and then another large green candlestick. So what do we want to see going forward? Well, we want to close above $33 a share, roughly. We want to get up above it. It's okay if we get a small down candlestick here, which is called the bloody nose. It's a continuation pattern. Don't get freaked out. That is normal. And let's look at URNJ too. URNJ, but this is URNM. It's looking fantastic. Let's hope the momentum can continue. That is what we want to see. Now, URNJ, someone, I was showing this to somebody and say, oh, that's a double bottom. And he said he was licking his lips to buy more. And I said, oh, that's dirty. And he said, what do you mean it's dirty? I said, dude, you never lick a booty bottom. I mean, that's just nasty, guys. All right. But we got URNJ. We're breaking out here. We've got strong green candlesticks on the right-hand side. It may be dirty, but I like the setup. That's all I'll say. Tan looking a little bit better. We're getting a little bit of a hammer candlestick there. We could definitely be heading higher here. With that candlestick, we'll see what happens and how strong that move is to the upside. Copper, COPX, up or down a little bit today. Momentum came back up throughout the day, but we're still sitting in a favorable area. I don't know. We could go up or down from this location. If we kind of zoom in, we have battles of sellers here. Let's get this out of here. What are we doing here? All right, let's zoom in here. So we do have a battle between sellers here. We've got some buyers coming in, and it's just kind of moving sideways at the moment. On different time frames, you could see this be kind of like a shoulder, head, shoulder when we do come back down. It's possible. Is it likely? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what the trading action happens over the next few weeks, months. Lithium still consolidating in its pattern here. Could we get an everything move to the upside? I think it's very possible. REMX doing the same thing. Consolidating, it's looking like it wants to break to the upside. Why do I say that? It's this big green candlestick here, and then the lack of selling pressure. And I think we could break on out. We haven't broken out yet. We'll monitor it together, but we'll keep looking at it. The S&P 500 slightly lower today, down 0.46, and still in this rising wedge. Same with U.S. Composite Index. We are down a little bit, down 0.63%, right against resistance. EEM down a little bit, 0.6% as well, and just chopping sideways. Probably down from the dollar being up a little bit. XHB looking strong. It's not too bad, up 0.18%. But could this be a rising wedge? We'll find out here shortly if that's a rising wedge, just like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. But we'll wait and see here. Moo is still below this trend line. And right now, I don't think this is looking that favorable for a move higher. I think it could still go lower back to this support level. Copper down 0.47%. We're still above support. It still looks good. Nothing bad. Not yet, at least. Lumber getting some selling pressure here, but a little wick at the bottom. Would I buy this? No, I wouldn't, but we're coming down to support, another support level down at $300. Iron ore actually getting a little bit of a pop today, 1.13%. That looks good to go higher. Looks very good. Nickel, 1.5% higher. On the weeklies, I do think this looks good to move higher. Little pattern there that's developing, and it's after a contraction of small candlesticks that usually works its way higher. Aluminum going sideways. I think this is bullish, guys. It looks to me like we've got, with the lead in here, the big guy, boom, small selling pressure, and it's consolidating, waiting for a move to go on up. And there are opportunities in aluminum to be looking at right now. Baltic Dry Index still looks good to go higher, up 0.84% today. Looks good. Newcastle Coal sideways. Again, let it consolidate a little bit. It's got a lot of momentum. It's got to work that momentum off. We'll go sideways here for a little bit. We'll call it the trampoline jump. So think of like a rock coming down, hitting a trampoline, and it's going to bounce, 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 bounce until it basically equals each other. That's what it is with buyers and sellers. You get a lot of selling pressure, and then eventually the buyers step in, and you'll see that kind of bounce and get to some sort of equilibrium before price moves in the other direction eventually. It's a consolidation pattern. Ethereum down 1.14%. Zooming in, it's just really moving sideways with support underneath it. Some support there, good support here. Yep. And Bitcoin flat. So that's what we've got for today. But the sectors that look really good, platinum. Platinum looks good. Uranium looks good. If we can break out of these patterns to the upside, guys, be pretty stinking bullish. Gold's already done it. And generally, the other commodities lag behind it. And here we are seeing them break to the upside, at least uranium. Will crude oil just lag behind it? It's most likely probable. It's probably the case. But again, we'll see. We'll wait and see. We'll see how these things play out together. If you guys are interested in figuring out what companies that might have very large leveraged moves with, we'll say, a little bit higher probabilities of that occurring, you can check out the website, finding-value.com, and become a platinum member if you're interested. I do cover the uranium sector. I do have my favorites, and I do openly talk about those on the website. I can't give advice, but you guys can do what you want with that information and make your own decisions on how you want to allocate and do whatever you want to your portfolios that you see fit. But I do talk about them. I do talk about some of the companies and what I think may perform the best and ones that I do not like. And we look at the charts and the chart patterns. That goes for gold and silver, uranium, oil, natural gas, aluminum, and diversified mining companies. We look at all these different commodities. I do think commodities are in cycle. I think they will be for a good long time. And that is where you could definitely beat the markets in those sectors. So that's what I've got for today. Give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time. This is Finding Value.